Hello fellow trainers, we're finally back with some competitive Pokemon. It's been a few months, but I'm really excited to talk about 6 new Pokemon you can use from Scarlet and Violet. If you're excited for more Pokemon and other monster taming content, please make sure to like and subscribe, and let's jump on in. The first Pokemon we'll talk about today is Annihilape, who is by far my favorite new Pokemon in this generation. And I've really enjoyed most of the new forms and new evolutions, and this is still by far my favorite. This new evolution of Primeape is going to be a ghost and fighting type. It has a few new tricks up its sleeve. It has Defiant, so when your stats are lowered, your attack actually goes up. Very commonly, you'll see Intimidate users come in on physical attackers to lower that attack stat. Not the case here. And it does have a new signature move in Rage Fist. This signature move is unique in the fact that its power increases by 50 each time the user is hit during battle, up to a maximum of 300 after 5 hits. This gives you a 300 base power ghost type move, and for those of you who play Draft League, you know how important ghost types are, and this move is phenomenal. On top of that, we're recommending running this with a Choice Band. You can run this with a Choice Scarf if you'd like to for revenge killing, because it's not too fast at base 90 speed. You can also run a bulk up set if you wanted to take advantage of its fighting and ghost typing. And I think it's fair to say this is not a hot take that if you do play Draft League or Wi-Fi or Showdown or anything like that, ghost fighting is probably going to give your team some problems at some point. This is a really huge threat. It also gets ice coverage, which is great. It gets U-turn from momentum. The only thing holding it back is its middling speed at base 90, which isn't great and has gotten even slower with the new Pokemon that have been introduced. So I do recommend using this with a slow U-turn user, Volt Switch user, or teleporter to get it in safely. But once it's in, it's either gaining more momentum for you or taking something out. So I highly recommend you check this Pokemon out for whatever format you're playing in. Baxcalibur is next on our list. It is a dragon and ice type Pokemon with the new ability Thermal Exchange, which means its attack is boosted when it's hit by a fire type move, and it also cannot be burned, which is really helpful because it does have base 145 attack. For this Pokemon, I'm recommending a Dragon Dance set with heavy duty boots because it does take a lot of damage from Stealth Rock, spikes, and everything else. We are also recommending you run it with Icicle Crash and Earthquake because ice and ground coverage is amazing. And we also have Glavive Rush, which I hope I'm saying correctly, a new dragon type move. This new move is a 120 base power dragon type physical move that causes any attacks directed at the user to always hit and deal damage in the next turn. So it's a very reckless move. It is a very powerful move, and coming off base 145 attack, there aren't many Pokemon that are going to be able to stomach that unless you're maybe a Steel type or Fairy type, of course. With that being said, in terms of support for this Pokemon, you may want to run it with a Fire type or a Steel type to help deal with other Steel types that are coming in on this, and Fairy types as well. This is probably a Pokemon that would do really well with Sticky Web. It is only in the mid 80s in terms of speed, so you may want to have something that helps it set up a little bit easier. Screens, of course, would be helpful, but with Dragon, Ice, and ground coverage, and Dragon Dance, and base 145 attack, it's definitely a Pokemon I'm excited to see unfold in this new meta, whether it be Draft League, or VGC, or just Showdown or Wi-Fi. It has a lot of potential, and I'm really excited to see what it can do. We have to talk about Roaring Moon. Everyone in Wi-Fi is using this. It's sweeping everything it comes across. It has 119 speed, a little awkward, I wish it was 120. 139 attack, I wish it was 140, but this thing's an absolute monster. I'm recommending the Choice Band for it because I just want to hit things hard with Crunch, with Dragon Claws, with Earthquakes, and with U-turns. It is a Dark and Dragon type and has the Photosynthesis ability, which is new to this generation. If you're not familiar, a Pokemon with Photosynthesis in Harsh Sunlight will have its highest stat other than HP increased by 30%, or 50% if speed is its highest stat. Absolutely outrageous. You're going to see this on a bunch of thumbnails because it's going to sweep a lot of things. People are really interested in it for a very good reason. The set's kind of basic and just 4 attacks with momentum. You're definitely going to want to have a Steel type to help deal with fairies because 1, they're immune to dragon, and 2, they're going to resist your other stab in Crunch. But if you can get something to deal with fairies and you support this Pokemon right, it's going to do a lot of really great things for you. Similar to the other ones, I think in Draft League it's going to be a monster. It might get banned in OU and other things like that, but I do hope for Draft League we're able to use it because it looks amazing, and I'm really enjoying the power creep that we're seeing in this generation as well. Oh, and one more thing before we move on, it does get Dragon Dance, so if you wanted to run this as a sweeper, you can. I chose it as more of a wall breaker, and with this set, you can also probably run it with your speed being boosted, so you have the Choice Band and the extra speed. You could do it so that you have a Choice Scarf with more attack. You could have the Dragon Dance set, so lots of flexibility. But I just really wanted to showcase and highlight that Choice Band set because I just want to hit things when I eventually do have this Pokemon bred and EV trained and all the good stuff. Speaking of fairy types that pair really well with the Roaring Moon, we have Tinkaton, which is very quickly becoming one of my favorite Pokemon. Even if it wasn't competitively viable, its Pokedex entry of just knocking down Corviknights is really awesome, and even if it wasn't competitively viable, the fact that we see how it interacts with Corviknight naturally through the Pokedex, that's enough for me. But let's talk about the set that I'm recommending here. For this set, we're rocking a Life Orb with Mold Breaker and Swords Dance, Terra Blast, Gigaton Hammer, and Knockoff. For Terra Blast, we are going to recommend using the electric type to help get through some of those bulky waters. And we have a new move in Gigaton Hammer, which we'll talk about. This new move is 160 base power. It is a steel type move, but it cannot be used twice in a row. It's a really big hammer. Tinkaton's not that big, it makes sense to me, but I just love the power creep that we're seeing here. Absolutely massive. Can you imagine coming in on this after a Swords Dance and taking a Gigaton Hammer? It's ridiculous. With base 75 attack, we do still want to get some Spike and Stealth Rock support. It's not hitting incredibly hard. We do have Life Orb as well to help with that a little bit. And this Pokemon is pretty slow, so this is a really good candidate for Trick Room teams if you do want to run that kind of team. You can run this bulky if you'd like to. I'm recommending a faster spread. But Steel and Fairy typing I think is really effective defensively. It's okay offensively in my opinion, but if you do play Draft League for example and you pick this with a high pick, I do think you'll get offensive and defensive utility out of this, and it has knockoff as well. So overall really solid in its signature move. I just love it. It's really fun. And if I didn't mention it before, it gets Mold Breaker, which is always nice. Mold Breaker is one of my favorite abilities. I feel like every time a Pokemon comes in with Mold Breaker, I kind of pause for a second and think, okay, what's it gonna do? So, really cool ability, one of my favorite Pokemon this generation, really great typing, and a awesome signature move. I'd be remiss if I didn't talk about my little bug, Lokix. I hope I'm saying that correctly. This is a Dark and Bug type. We are recommending the Choice Band set with Tinted Lens, one of my favorite abilities. We have First Impression, we have Axe Kick, Sucker Punch, and U-Turn, so we have a lot of priority on this set, and we have a lot of momentum as well. Because we have so much priority, and I also want to maximize our U-Turns, another Choice Band here. First Impression is going to get really hard with that Choice Band and Stab. Same thing with Sucker Punch, and with all the ghosts running around and the havoc they're wreaking, you definitely want to have a good Sucker Punch user, so I do think the Choice Band here is useful. Of course, you can run it with Choice Scarf if you'd like to, but I do think that extra bit of power coming off its attack stat will be really helpful with that Choice Band. While this Pokemon in this set isn't recommended as a sweeper or cleaner or anything like that, I do recommend having some kind of entry hazard support like with any offensive Pokemon, mainly because Sucker Punch, U-Turn, and First Impression will probably force your opponent to switch quite a bit as you're gaining momentum. So if you can gain momentum and get damage at the same time, very, very helpful. And I think that's where this Pokemon's niche is going to be, both in standard play and in Draft League. And the last Pokemon we'll talk about today is Cetitan, who is one of the first Pokemon revealed in different previews and trailers for this game. It has Slush Rush, which is always fun. It is an Ice type, which has got buffs that we'll talk about. And we're recommending a Belly Drum set with the Citrus Berry, which is always fun and terrifying for your opponent potentially. A new mechanic change has made Ice types way more viable, so we've had Hail replaced with Snowscape. So the user will summon a Snowstorm lasting 5 turns, and this boosts the defense stat for Ice types. This is actually really helpful for Cetitan because one, it has base 170 HP, which is huge. Its defense is only 60, but if you do get it in that Snowscape and you're boosting its defense, there's a much better chance you can take a hit, go for Belly Drum, end up getting its HP back with that Citrus Berry, and then we have Slush Rush to go ahead and sweep teams, which would be actually really funny to get split by a Cetitan using Slush Rush because it doesn't look that fast. The moves we're recommending aren't anything revolutionary. We have Belly Drum to boost your attack if your speed's being boosted by that Snowscape Slush Rush. We also do have Icicle Crash, we have Ice Shard, and we have Earthquake for that Mamoswine coverage as well. I don't think Cetitan will be as widely used as the other Pokemon in this video, but I think it's cool. I like Ice types, I like that they got buffs. I wanted to feature one, there are probably better ones I could have picked, but this seemed like a good fit to end the video. So if you enjoyed the content, please make sure to like and subscribe if you enjoy Pokemon and other monster taming content, and we'll see you next time. Alright, bye.